Hey, SEGways!
Last week, I made a video revisiting Steve, the property owner of the House of the Dead. Steve is always good for a debunk and a laugh, which is usually what I aim for in my channel. But it looks like one of the ghost hunters who were also featured in this video took some issue in some of the things I said. Nightmare Nation and Dawson Toller were the ghost hunters while at Steve's House of the Scam. I got mostly positive feedback from Nightmare Nation, and it was their video I was reacting to, but Dawson, who was collaborating with them and actually has a video of his own while at the House of the Scam, seems a little bit upset about some of the things I said. So much so that he made a response video of his own about my video. So after watching his video, I kind of flipped between wanting to tear Dawson a new one and just wanting to give him a hug. So I decided I'm going to make a response video of my own, which is what you're watching right now, where I'm going to go in between the two and just give Dawson some tough love on how to handle criticism on YouTube. Also, before we go forward, I literally just got an email from Dawson thanking me that I sent a bunch of my Patreons and members over to watch his video. He also does acknowledge now that he may have took some of the things a little too personally. Very good timing. I managed to read that email just before I make this video, so I'm probably going to go a little bit easier on him than I originally was going to. However, as you keep watching, you'll see, and Dawson probably already knows this, that he pulled some pretty nasty tactics to discredit me. And to be perfectly honest, I just can't really let that go. So, to start with, I best put a link to the video I made where I revisited Steve's House of the Scam. Please go check that video out so you have a full understanding of what exactly we're talking about here. Also, please go watch Dawson's video in full, because I will be cutting some of his response out of my video just for time reasons, but I don't want anyone to think that I'm taking what he says out of context, so just to be on the safe side, go watch his video, just go watch all the videos. Leave Dawson a like, same with Nightmare Nation, please go give their videos a watch. They are smaller channels and I would be happy to help them out. So, let's give this a watch.
This guy made a debunking video on the house that we went to. Not really us, really just kind of talk shit about us. And he threw some false claims in there that I just want to clear up. I left a comment for him and said, hey, I can show you these clips to show that we didn't fake anything and that your opinion is wrong.
I'm all for people making these kind of videos. I think Dawson gets a fair bit wrong here, but I will defend his right to make a video defending himself all day long.
But the guy is like a full-blown skeptic, I think. I don't think he believes in any of it at all.
Kinda. I've explained this before in my 1K sub special video, and I've also mentioned it in a few live streams. I may have had something supernatural happen to me as a kid, a full body apparition actually. I won't go into all the details about this now. You can go watch my 1K sub special video if you do want to know more. But what I will say is I debunk myself all the time. I'm always trying to come up with a rational, non-paranormal explanation for what I think I saw. So I do try and stay consistent with my skepticism.
So I kind of just decided I'll do this reaction video and clear up some things that he claimed that are very damaging, especially to a really small channel, when every single week a lot of these guys release like a video that's just absolute dog shit and fake as hell that he could react on, but instead he wanted to attack two people that have like 1,000 subscribers.
Dawson, mate, before you do a video like this, I suggest you look at my channel. I'm not saying you have to go spend hours and hours watching all my content, but at least just look at the titles and the thumbnails. I go after big channels all the time. You and Nightmare Nation are the very first channels smaller than my own that I've ever reacted to. It does get a little bit frustrating that if I go for the big channels, I'm called a clout chaser, and when I go for the small channels, I'm accused of punching down.
So as he says right there, he's going after the homeowner and not really us. But because he is who he is, he's saying he has to give opinions, but he titles the video Caught Faking.
Yeah, I caught Steve faking.
And later on, he goes on to say, like, look at this guy's titles and thumbnails. He's this and that. And it's like, okay, I understand how YouTube works. You got to use your titles and your thumbnails to get clicks, to grow. That's what you're supposed to do. So it's a problem when I do it, but not when he does it, because he doesn't catch us faking anything, but he titles that so people will click on it, I'm sure.
With the greatest of respect to you and Nightmare Nation, the video wasn't about you guys. It was about Steve. I honestly thought I made that pretty clear in the original video.
So when he says it's a complete scam, I don't believe that. The house is definitely haunted.
Dawson, defending the House of the Scam is not the best approach here, mate.
Is it haunted by what Steve says? I personally don't think so. We kind of talked about that in my video, and this guy did do a really good job on saying, like, Steve claimed that there was a cemetery there and some of the bodies weren't moved and that's part of the reason it's haunted. This guy proved that that wasn't true. So he did a really good job on that, but also at the same time, he's trying to say the whole thing is a scam and it's not haunted when we did get plenty of activity.
This is my attitude when it comes to the paranormal. If there is just one shit in the swimming pool, you don't jump in it. And Steve has many shits in his swimming pool.
It's Atchison. The whole town is supposed to be haunted. I just do not think it's as haunted as Steve says, and it's not haunted by what Steve says.
The ghost hunting channel that is investigating Steve's house of the scam are called Nightmare Nation. This is the first time I've reacted to a channel smaller than my own, so please go watch the original video, get these guys' views up, and of course don't leave them any negative comments or anything like that. Despite what some have said lately, the debunking community is not toxic.
He says that, but a lot of his goons, dozens of people have went to Tyler's channel and left very shitty comments from him. He just has to say that for legal reasons. He has to say, otherwise they can delete his video, delete his channel, he could get a strike, something like that. You can report. So when he says that, he can be like, hey, I told him not to, and he's probably very genuine. He probably doesn't want people to do that, but his goons are going to do it anyways.
I cannot see one negative comment in your video or Nightmare Nation's video when you visited the house of the scam. Now maybe you guys deleted these dozens of shitty comments, but if that is the case, I'm sure you still got the emails of these negative comments that were sent to you. Could you please send them to me? I would like to see who in my fan base is leaving you negative comments when I ask them all not to do so. If you are lying about this and calling my fan base goons, that's not cool. So I really hope you can share with me these dozens of comments. Mate, I can try and be nice with you with this response video and all, but you can't say things like this if you don't have the proof to back it up.
We got the place not knowing how crazy Steve was. We already went there. Do you want me to turn around and drive 9 hours back home, or stick around and find out why or what or whatever? If we got zero activity, I wouldn't have even posted the video. I do that often.
Then post it. It will help your credibility. You don't need to have paranormal activity every time you go do an investigation. If nothing happened, then show nothing happens. The real paranormal investigators that I often promote all the time have absolutely nothing happen in their videos, and they just own that.
This used to be a cemetery where they actually buried him right directly here.
Lies, lies, lies.
I don't have the time to go and like call the freaking city hall and be like, hey, is this true? I'm glad he does it though. I actually really appreciate debunkers that put in that much effort. But I go to these places like once a week, once every 2 weeks. I don't have the time for that. Nobody really does unless you're doing a debunking video. I don't get paid to do this, so I'm not going to go that deep into it. If he says it is, sure, let's go with that. But I do want to point out, when we go to these places, we don't just believe everything. We try to confirm it through the investigation. We listen to what we're told, we try to confirm it.
I totally get it. I understand that you don't have the time to get into the depth of debunking something like I did. This is why I'm a debunker. It's what I do. But at the very beginning of that Paranormal Files video I did, I said this.
And I'm going to be very direct from the get-go with all of you here. I think this house is a scam. It's nonsense. It's as clear-cut, black and white, obvious a scam as you're going to find. I am probably going to treat some of these debunks with far more respect and professionalism than I really have to, because I think when some of you see this video, you will think, well, side-eye guy, basic intuition and common sense tell us this place is fake. But please, just indulge me, because I've done a lot of work to show how stupid this place is.
As far as I'm concerned, the place is self-evidently fake. And I want to stress here, that is my opinion.
The room where we heard Zig Heil.
Well, that's new. Steve didn't go that far when Colin came to visit. There's tasteless when it comes to these fake claims.
He did when Colin was there, because that's where it came from, because I watched it after the debunking video. In Colin's video, it says on like those stupid phone devices or whatever, it said Zig Heil. And Colin was the guy that pointed it out and said it just said, you know, Zig Heil or whatever. That's where he got it from. So you missed it in your last debunking video, I guess, but that's where it's not new.
I can't remember this happening in the Paranormal Files video, but I'm sure you're correct. So to that, I will say, my mistake, I got that wrong.
With our mic after we pointed the camera at Dirty Gertie.
I don't believe this for 1 second.
He doesn't believe it. Okay, so are you trying to give us credit, or are you trying to shit on us? Because I'm not that good to mess up audio like that on purpose in my software. I'm not going to do that anyways, but I'm not that good to do it. So he's saying, I don't believe this. Okay, so why is it only like that for about 15 or 30 seconds?
If you want to send me the raw footage of the audio messing up when around that doll, please send away. I'll be happy to watch it.
This guy's pretty funny. I'm not trying to like shit on him like he was us.
First of all, thank you. Secondly, I am not shitting on you, mate. I actually gave you and Nightmare Nation the benefit of the doubt that I did not give Colin of the Paranormal files. When Colin visited, I very much criticised him, saying he should be able to see through Steve's bullshit, since Colin is a veteran of making these videos. But with you guys, I gave you the benefit of the doubt, saying you may have got caught up in Steve's lies. I'm sure when you're at that house in the moment, and Steve is bombarding you with an information dump, it may not be that easy to think straight. You may well be susceptible to thinking this place is haunted when it really isn't. The power of suggestion is quite a powerful thing. Now, you may well disagree with me, but that was my honest opinion. But I will say here, Dawson, if you want your channel to grow, and I honestly hope it does grow, then you will have to accept more and more criticism like this. And I can tell you something, the criticism can get way harsher than anything I said. Nobody is above criticism on YouTube. Not you, not me, nobody.
I'm just trying to prove my point that we weren't faking anything, and I have the evidence to show that we weren't faking it because he didn't want us to prove it. We gave him the option, hey, DM us, we'll send you this and that. He didn't want to do that.
What didn't I want to do? I responded to the comment you left for me in my video. If you want to send me raw footage, go ahead. So what he does is info dump as many ridiculous claims as he possibly can, as quickly as he possibly can, so the people in his tour are just bombarded with nonsense, and they're not given enough time to let any of it sink in to ask any questions.
I don't really, I'm not disagreeing with that, but I also just think that Steve genuinely believes all of this.
Wrong take here, Dawson. I don't know how many times I have to directly show Steve is lying about the claims in this house before you stop giving him the benefit of the doubt.
You know how many people will take a picture and it'll have a lens flare in it and they're like, oh my god, that's a ghost? I think Steve is kind of like one of those people. So I don't think that he's necessarily just trying to lie. I think he truly believes what he's saying. I really think he believes it. Whether it's true or not, it isn't. I think he believes it.
Wrong, 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 wrong.
I might actually watch this guy because he seems like he's funny and all that. I don't like that he attacked me without any proof or evidence and then lied on it and said we were caught faking. Huge debunk.
Again, thank you, Dawson. You're always welcome to my channel. But mate, I didn't lie about you. I was talking about Steve. The huge debunk that I mentioned in my title is what I discovered about the history of that Holocaust doll, Dirty Gertie. I thought that was a solid debunk and I'm pretty proud of it. I really did think I made this very clear in my video, but here we are. A grave marker. Who put it there? The serial killer? By the way, Steve never tells us the name of this serial killer because it's completely made up. If there are bodies buried in the basement and they are murder victims of a serial killer, what?
I don't think that's what Steve is claiming. I might be wrong. I'm watching what he's putting in this, but I'm pretty sure what Steve's trying to imply is that there's still bodies there that got left behind when they were digging up the cemetery, which actually does happen. That's a real thing that happens.
Right, I know I'm being lazy right now, but the bodies under the house is separate from the bodies from the serial killer. I'm sorry, I can't be bothered finding the clip where Colin actually says this. But also the video I did with Dawson and Nightmare Nation, Steve mentions about 10 bodies in the basement, which is separate from the over 100 bodies underneath the house. But don't get me wrong, Dawson, I understand why that's confusing, because it is bloody confusing, because Steve doesn't really do a very good job explaining what's what.
Very special guest, Dawson Toller.
Nope, I have no idea who he is either.
Okay, I didn't know who you were either till you lied about my channel. So I don't see why you have to throw that in there. I guess you're trying to be funny, but at the same time, why are you trying to hate on us so bad? I don't get that. Here's the reason why I like Beardo, because he doesn't really do that. Beardo likes to have an open mind and hear people out and not just shit on them. And this guy seems like he's just trying to shit on people for comedy, which I can respect. I understand. This is what you're doing. You're doing YouTube. That's your whole thing. But at the same time, like, do you feel better shitting on somebody that has 1,000 subscribers? Is it better to do that because these people might actually respond to you? You might actually get something.
I'm not going to name drop like a dickhead here, but I've had plenty of bigger channels responding to me in one way or another. Mostly positive, but others a little more negatively. Also, let's play the whole clip that Dawson conveniently leaves out of the video.
Nope, I have no idea who he is either, but I won't be a dick about it. Many people out there don't know who I am, and we've all got to start at the bottom of YouTube and just climb that ladder.
I'm not shitting on you, mate. I'm actually being nice, but you are being dishonest by taking what I say out of context. This is not cool, Dawson, and is really not doing yourself any favours if you want people to trust you. But I will say, just after reading that email that I got from Dawson before doing this recording, that I am again going to give Dawson the benefit of the doubt and say the reason he has done this is because he is new to all this and he's angry. This is another learning curve, mate. No matter how angry you are or how invested you are, don't take clips out of context because it does not look good on you. But I am not going to hold this against you.
Judging by Dawson's thumbnails, it looks like his biggest influences will be channels like SEGways or Yasko, since he likes to get involved with haunted dolls, getting scratched, and Dibbit box openings.
So that's something I don't understand. How are you going to sit there and say that? I don't watch Yasko, whatever his name is, or SEGways or whatever the hell. Just because I go somewhere and they have a haunted doll that I clearly said I didn't believe in until it actually talked to us and we got evidence that it was a really haunted doll. How is that bad for me? The Dybbuk box, we didn't open it, so you're wrong. My friend did get scratched. I've been burned before. I don't get what you're trying to say here. Like, oh my god, they got scratched, so he must be like these other YouTubers. I don't get it. Like, what are you trying to achieve there other than just talking shit?
To be fair to Dawson, because this isn't a hit piece, I am trying to be as fair and balanced as I possibly can. He has a point here. I didn't see these videos. I made a judgment on the thumbnails, and there is every chance that my assessment of those thumbnails could be completely incorrect. But to be fair, this is the problem in general with thumbnails. It's a very quick image that gives an overall impression of what your video and your channel is all about.
Isn't it amazing that Steve's House of the Scams went from a channel as big as Paranormal Files with nearly 1 million subscribers all the way down to Nightmare Nation? And I say this with the greatest of respect to Nightmare Nation, but it is a pretty big fall from grace.
Again, he's saying like greatest respect to Nightmare Nation. This is Nightmare Nation's video, and he's talking shit about me. How is that a diss towards the House of the Dead though? Like, the Sally House has people that go that have millions of subscribers, but they also have people that go that have 0 subscribers. So saying the House of the Dead has dropped so far, it had to have these losers that only have 1,000 subscribers is just weird to me. Like, what are you talking about?
You're putting words in my mouth here. I didn't call anyone losers. The point I was making was meant to be a dig at Steve and Colin, not really you guys.
What happened?
Dude, my fucking stomach.
Alright, that's actually pretty funny. But I don't see how he could possibly debunk this or whatever. He wasn't there, he wasn't me, he didn't see my reaction in real life.
I didn't debunk it or claim that I did. I was just making fun and giving my opinions, which I clearly stated was just my opinions. I was giving an alternative explanation on how this could have happened.
So the REM pod goes off non-stop, and for those of you who are unaware, walkie-talkies can make these REM pods go off, as shown by the awesome Kenny Biddle here.
This is one thing that annoys me. It's like saying if you have a really big fire going on and someone shows up and says, you used gas on that fire. And they're like, no, I used flint and steel. And they're like, no, you use gas because you can use gas to make a really big fire. But one thing he doesn't point out that maybe he doesn't know, and a lot of these debunkers point out, is, oh, the REM pod went off. Walkie-talkies can make them go off. The issue with that is when you use a walkie-talkie as shown in these videos, you click it and it goes like 0 to 100 immediately. That's what it does. That's what you'll see in other people's videos. Not going to name names. There's a pair of twins. They do it. It doesn't just make it go off a little bit, as far as I know. So him to say that is just lazy debunking, because he's like, just because it can, it is, which it isn't. See a walkie-talkie, then tell somebody that they're using a walkie-talkie.
Dawson again conveniently leaves out the full clip where I say I am not saying the ghost hunters are using walkie-talkies.
Doing this, but I will say faking the REM pod with walkie-talkies is more likely than Steve's House of the Scam having any kind of paranormal activity. I'm not saying Nightmare Nation are definitely doing this, but I will say faking the REM pod with walkie-talkies is more likely than Steve's House of the Scam having any kind of paranormal activity.
I'll be honest, originally I was really going to tear into Dawson at this point. So again, I'm going to give Dawson the benefit of the doubt and say the reason he is continually taking my clips out of context and not showing them in full is because he's inexperienced and angry. I am not going to hold this against you, mate. Just please stop doing this.
I disagree. I think Steve's house actually does have paranormal activity. I think he just believes it's a demon and tells people it's demons and that it's way more haunted than it really is. But there's definitely paranormal activity inside of that home, whether it's from Atchison, whether it's from whatever. There's definitely something that goes on in that house.
If you think the house of the scam could be in any way, shape or form haunted, I do suggest you have a higher standard of what you consider to be evidence of the paranormal. Just remember, you shouldn't be jumping into any swimming pool with just one shit in it. Just remember, everybody, this is the guy claiming to get punched in the gut.
No, I did. You showed my videos of real paranormal activity, and that's your proof, and that's you doing your debunking. Huge debunks, by the way. Caught faking. Huge caught faking. I like debunkers. I like what they do. I watch Beardo all the time. I love what they do. But the reason why I watch Beardo and not these other guys, Beardo gives people the benefit of the doubt. Beardo...
Dawson, you can't complain about me not giving you the benefit of the doubt when I clearly did give you the benefit of the doubt and you just cut it out of the video.
We're not even using phone apps. You would think if we were trying to fake something like this, we would at least use the phone apps with it.
So there has been some questionable editing in the way Dawson has made this video, but that doesn't mean I have to match that. And I will say right now, I fully agree and commend Dawson and Nightmare Nation for not using phone apps. I actually did mean to put this in my video I made on Steve's House of the Scam, because I did notice you guys weren't using the phone apps, and I will fully apologize that I somehow forgot to add that into the video. I don't know how that slipped my mind, because I do remember thinking that while I was watching the video, and for some reason I just completely forgot to say it. But I will say right now, it's fantastic you guys are not using the apps, and for me personally, I think that really actually does help your credibility.
Maybe even like stabbed in the stomach would feel, he cuts it off at the wrong area, like...
Yeah, it's annoying when that happens, isn't it? Honestly, I didn't mean to do that on my end. If I did cut this off sooner than I should have, or at the wrong point, apologies. By him, I'm assuming they mean Steve. So this is automatically going to compromise any activity you perceive to be paranormal, since there is a crazy person also hanging around the house.
Like, if I was somebody that this guy liked, he'd be like, oh, that's awesome. He's actually thinking of reasons why it isn't a ghost. But because it's us and he doesn't like us...
No, I like Nightmare Nation. They seem cool. I'm only kidding. You seem alright too, Dawson.
He's gonna assume that... I don't know. Why would I leave that in the video if we were faking it? I have proof, I'm about to pop it up on screen, that at this time, Steve was actually gone. Like, he wasn't even at the house. He went to Taco Bell, which, here's that screenshot. Like, he wasn't even at the house when this was going on. He would have known that if he asked me, but he didn't, and that's part of the reason why I'm making this video.
That's not proof, Dawson. All you showed is that he was not in a room at that moment. I asked you this as a response in the comment section, and you didn't answer it then, so I'm going to ask it again now. Who were you referring to when you said him, if not Steve? I also would like to know, how far away is Taco Bell from the House of the Scam? Did Steve offer to do a run for all the rest of you guys? Did he smell a Taco Bell when he came back? All you've really proven is Steve convinced you guys that he was apparently going to Taco Bell, because I'm not convinced Steve ever left that house while you guys were there.
It's so freaking cold.
Dude, seriously. It is.
Hey mate, listen, your fellow ghost hunter right behind you is wearing a sleeveless top, and he doesn't look very cold at all.
Like, what do you mean? If anything, you're proving us correct, but instead you try to use it as like, we're lying. The point is, he was wearing a sleeveless shirt. Do you know why? Because it wasn't cold. And then it got cold all of the sudden. Some people call it a cold spot, some people think it's ghost. Whatever it is, it had gotten really cold in that moment.
If you played the full clip, you'd understand. The guy behind didn't look cold. It's pretty simple, to be honest. One of the guys said it was really cold, and the other guy didn't look cold.
All the lights in the house have gone off.
If it responds.
The cat
You want
balls
us
go
to
on.
come back in there right now? Could you make that motion light go off real quick?
Turn them all back on.
Make any of them go on. We'll come back in. Oh my god, dude.
I already know what he's probably about to infer. He's probably thinking, Steve has this crazy technology inside his house that will turn lights on, off and on, like by his phone or something, even though none of us saw him do that.
Maybe you should be talking to Colt from Nightmare Nation about this, because he has some theories about Steve's involvement with the lights going out. Just to be clear, this is not my opinion, this is Colt's.
These are motion lights. They are not light switches. They're not lights inside the house. They're just like motion lights. That's what was going on. Are they faulty? Maybe, probably, who knows? It was just weird that it would turn on command. So, to sit here, and I'm assuming he is gonna say, oh, Steve did this and that, just remember, Side-Eye Guy, you claim that this house was terrible and decrepit, and the reason why no one can sleep in it is because it is so terrible it should be falling apart. But yet, Steve has this technology and these, triggers, whatever, to make lights go off and on inside the house.
You're aware of how clean a building is has nothing to do with the wiring, right? The Sally house, or the Scammy house, is really close to Steve's house of the scam. Steve often likes to dick measure how his...
So, this guy doesn't believe in ghosts, I'm sure. I've been to the Sally house. It was most definitely haunted. I don't know what he means by the scammy house.
Problem is, Dawson, when you think Steve's house of the scam is haunted, after watching how much Steve lies, it's very hard to trust your judgment on other haunted locations. But to be fair, Dawson has been to the Sally house and I have not. So he is going to know far more about it than I am. But with that being said, I still don't think the Sally house is haunted at all. And one day I will do a video on the Sally house on why I feel this way.
Dude, I swear I heard it whisper, Dawson.
Okay, I'm done. This would have been bad enough if it was done in a no...
So what he's trying to say is he doesn't believe it. So I am about to pop up a couple clips in here. This is one where it says a really bad word, and I repeat it because I repeat what I hear. And you can hear it on camera say this word very faintly because remember, it's in headphones very loudly.
You're just saying stuff now.
It just said the N-word with the hard R.
So if I'm going to fake this, why would I do that? Here's another clip of it saying a word and then me saying it right away.
Nothing.
And then here's a clip where you can hear it say Dawson. Now, it is between a couple of things being said, so you do have to listen closely. Right after Tyler talks, as soon as he's done talking, you can hear it say Dawson, and then you hear like something else, and then you hear me say, hey, I think it just said my name or whatever.
And then we will leave you alone and let you rest in peace.
I swear it just said Dawson again. I swear it just said Dawson again.
Dawson, I promise you I'm not trying to be a dick here. I have listened to this so many times. I've enhanced the audio. I've got the volume way up. I'm using Bose headphones. And I cannot hear Dawson. I could hear the word nothing earlier, but I still can't hear anything coming through saying your name. Now, maybe it is there and I just can't hear it. I don't know. I'm not saying it definitely didn't happen. I'm just saying I can't hear it. But this is what I'm saying is the problem with the Estes method. And I'm sorry to put you on the spot right now, but I did ask you this in the comments and I need to ask again now. Did you really hear Dirty Gertie in that Estes session?
Dirty Gertie, swear to fucking God.
Oh my
it was
God.
like dirty Gertie.
Oh my God.
Please be honest here, Dawson, because after I showed how Steve completely fabricated the whole backstory of that doll, I can't understand how that would possibly come through during an Estes session.
So, there goes his claim about we're not hearing anything and I'm making it up. Just wanted to point that out, we're not making it up. I could have sent this to him before, he didn't want to see it, so here it is in my video.
Mate, I didn't say I didn't want to see it, I just thought we were having a back and forth in the comment section. But if you want to send me any raw footage, send away. Maybe the very first message I sent back to you, I should have been open to that. That's my bad if I didn't make that clear. But I've got no problem with you sending me any raw footage at all. And the Estes method is pretty much conveniently designed that it cannot be debunked. But this is about as close as...
He's implying that the reason why people do the Estes method is so that debunkers can't debunk them. Like most ghost hunters even care. Granted, I do care that this guy debunked me because it hurts my reputation before I've even had the chance to grow. I quit my job and moved away so I could try to do this. I don't make any money off of it. I strive on being real, and then this guy wants to try to shit on me because he doesn't believe in ghosts. Uncalled for. It's not even my video.
Dawson, it's really hard to say this in a nice way, but all said and done, mate, you need thicker skin to do this. And I'm not talking out of ignorance here, mate. You would not believe the amount of nasty comments I have had. I have had threats of violence on me. I have people threatening to unalive me. I have had other people making videos of me making fun of me as well. I just laugh about it or ignore it. Because listen, mate, I really hope your channel grows. But the reality of the situation is the more it grows and the more eyes you get on your channel, the more you will be critiqued. And you are not above criticism.
Here's all the debunks that he claimed to have on us that have all been debunked by myself no huge debunks, we weren't caught faking.
I'm going to say this one more time so I am crystal clear. I didn't claim to debunk you or Nightmare Nation. I didn't even attempt to debunk you. I was trying to make my video funny, and I offered my opinions. And I would say I even gave you guys the benefit of the doubt, even though you say I didn't.
I wish the guy would have talked to us first so that we could prove it, but instead he'd rather tear down our reputation for nothing because he doesn't believe.
Okay, to be fair, I could have reached out to you first. You got a point there. But I think a lot of people don't realize how difficult it is to make these videos sometimes and how long they can take. If I reached out to every single ghost hunter that I make a video of, it just makes the whole process even slower. But I'll be honest with you, Dawson, I would have reached out to you if I had any idea it would make you this upset. Really, honestly, I would have. So maybe this is something that I can learn going forward if ever I was to react to another small channel.
And while he did say like, hey, this is on Steve, not these ghost hunters, what he's doing is destroying our reputation, bullying us for no reason.
I'm going to give you the opportunity to apologize for calling me a bully, because that's a very serious thing to accuse someone of. It didn't go so well for Lenny and Ben when they did that to Beardo.
Wankers!
I'm not going to make a huge song and dance about this. I'm not going to make this a bigger issue than it has to be. And I will stress, I don't want anyone giving Dawson any hate if you've made it this far in the video. But I will say, Dawson, you have to be very careful when you use language like this on YouTube.
So here is my response. I shouldn't have even made it, but the problem is I don't have hundreds of thousands, millions of people behind me.
Nor do I! Bloody hell, I wish.
Anytime my videos might get into some of these people's feed from now on, they are going to assume that I'm fake because this guy has an opinion.
Opinions are like arseholes, mate. Everybody has one. I form my opinion based on what you said and did. So I'm going to say this kindly. Instead of having to go at me about your reputation, just take a look at how you conduct yourself on your investigations. So, final thoughts here. I think Dawson's a nice enough guy. I think Nightmare Nation are pretty nice guys. I think a lot of this has largely come down to just inexperience. And I realize it might sound like I'm talking down to you guys. I apologize in advance if that's how it's taken. I don't mean it to be that way. I by no means have all the answers for this. My channel is just coming up to being 1 year old. I have made lots of mistakes and I will make more. So by no means am I saying I'm perfect. But a lot of what Dawson says here, I'm not going to hold against him. It seems like a lot of this came from a place of frustration. I will also say that I'm not going to make another response video to this. Dawson, if you want to make a response video to this, it is absolutely your right to do so. But for me personally, this is where it stops. I'm happy to have an email back and forth with you. I can even leave some comments on your videos, but this video response was a one-time thing. Dawson and Nightmare Nation, I wish you both the very best of luck going forward with your channel. Maybe one day in the future, our channels will cross paths again.